Hey everyone, today I'm showing you how to turn FAQ downvotes into better content automatically. So I have this FAQ page that pulls content, FAQ content, from my CMS. And I also have voting information that I'm storing in an upstash Redis using Vercel KV. Lots of organizations have FAQ pages that look just like this, but what they miss is that they start seeing negative votes and they don't react quickly, or in some cases, they just don't react at all. But FAQ downvotes tell a really important story. Your users are saying, I came here for help and I left more confused. So this suggests that there's either a poor quality content or that there's content missing completely. And both of those issues can take time to fix. So what I built to try and help with this is I built an API route, Next.js, that leverages AI to write a draft blog post based on the question and the provided answer, as well as some additional sources of information fed into the prompt. Once the AI is done drafting the blog post, it'll drop it into our CMS for branding and human review. Because we're dealing with healthcare content, insurance content, potentially sensitive content, we want to ensure that a human is working on this piece of content. And also, this automation will link the newly created blog post, the supporting blog content, back to the original FAQ. That way, we formulate a semantic relationship between the FAQ and the supporting content that's in the blog post. So if the blog post changes, that's reflected in the FAQ, and you don't have to do manual revisions in multiple places. So let's kick off the process, and we'll take a look at the Next.js API route that I have in place. So, customer scenario, let's say, what if I cannot afford care is the question. And the answer is pretty terrible. It says, please refer to your insurance policy or contact your provider. And that's just awful. So I downvoted this. I want the Karma Health to know that this is not a sufficient answer. And that will kick off our automation. So in my Next.js application, I have a route file. And this API route checks to see if a blog already exists related to this FAQ question. And if a blog doesn't exist and it has 5 or more votes, it's going to kick off the process of creating an AI blog post and upserting that blog post into the CMS. So you can see here I have a create AI blog post function, and really this just has the content.ai management SDK in place to upsert that CMS content, to upsert that blog post and make changes to the FAQ item. A lot of this code is pretty well documented in the content.ai management SDK repo, so we won't go through this extensively. But what's more interesting is this generate blog content function. In here, I'm using Claude Sonnet 4, and I'm giving it the question and answer information from the FAQ, as well as some prompt guidance here, telling it what analysis is required, what the output it's responsible for is, and what official sources to cite. So in a real implementation, this official sources portion of the prompt could contain some links or information from company policies or some specific sources that will inform this AI to write more accurate content to support your questions and answers. So this would be a little bit longer in a real implementation, but for the sake of this demo and simplicity, I kept it pretty short. But notice in here, I don't have a lot about tone or branding. That's something that I want to be done in the review process in the CMS. And we have other methodologies for applying that branding content. Here, I want to focus on trying to get accurate information in the generated content. We'll focus on tone and branding in a subsequent step. So this was running in the background as we hit 5 downvotes for that content. And let's see what happened in the CMS. I'm going to reload content.ai, and what we should see here is a newly created blog post understanding your healthcare coverage and common questions. And we also see that it's in the needs human review step. So this should tell my content team, hey, look through this piece of content, maybe fill out some of the design attributes like image. I'm just going to pick an image here. We'll insert it and start looking through the content to make sure that it's accurate, that the AI didn't hallucinate on some important details, and that it fits what we want to say. An out-of-the-box feature that actually helps with this review, we have some branding guidelines in content.ai that is set up in the content types section of the CMS. If I open this content type and take a look at body copy, I can see that there are some content review guidelines. If I look at the guidelines, this is where we're inserting our brands and voice and tone and principles and more of the marketing mutation of that AI generated content from the initial step. So although we're in the human in the loop step in this workflow, we can still leverage some of the out of the box AI to help facilitate a tone and branding review as we're working through it. So let's say I was the editor and I'm reading through this, maybe doing some of the creative work. I can have the out of the box AI assistant in content.ai checking for things like, yeah, we want to use annual checkup instead of wellness visits, right? That's pretty reasonable brand suggestion. And what we can do is if we hit this checkbox, it'll actually go and replace the content with the suggestion. So let's say we go through, we resolve all these issues, we've done our human in the loop. We can publish this. And that is the blog post. Let's also look at the FAQ. You see we have this related post attribute here, and it was populated with that newly created blog post. Let's publish this as well. And take a look at the front-end implementation. This is what the FAQ looked like before we kicked off our automation. If I reload the page, now we have this nice disclaimer here, looking for more details. We've prepared a comprehensive article, and the user can click on this tile, and it'll bring them to a more comprehensive, deeper dive answer into the question that they had. So in a matter of moments and one short human in the loop review, we've taken a really insufficient FAQ and turned it into a longer form piece of supporting content that should inspire more helpful reviews and allow your customers to be less confused instead of coming here and just experiencing frustration. That's it for this demo. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. Thanks.